Hello YouTube! Cloudflare here, bringing you my very first MLP fanfic reading. Well, actually it's my first YouTube video, period. But anyway, I will be reading My Very Little Pony by the GameAtor 10. Big Trouble, Little Ponies. Okay, one more time, a lavender unicorn remarked. Her name was Twilight Sparkle, a local resident of Ponyville. She was an expert in magic, however, she didn't boast, unlike another unicorn known for her boasting and magic expertise. Twilight was trying out a new spell she picked up, a shrinking spell, which she and her baby dragon Spike dubbed Number 47. She was attempting to shrink an apple down to a small size. She had tried roughly 16 times. Each time was a failure. Either the spell didn't work, or it totally backfired and made the apple more than 5 times its original size. Luckily, she knew a reverse spell. "Please work," she said over and over, hoping to draw some sense into her magic. Once more the apple grew, but not down to a smaller size, or perhaps it did shrink, just not enough for someone to see that it did. She was ready to give up. Ugh! Once more another dud. "Spike, you want this apple?" she asked, defeated. "Nah, I'm good, Twilight," Spike replied. Ugh! Twilight sighed. "Well, one final time," she said. Once more she tried, and finally her quest for a smaller apple scale was complete. "It worked! It worked! I can't believe it worked!" she celebrated. "But just to be sure," she whispered as she tried to shrink a nearby book. Suddenly a voice shattered her concentration. "Hey, Twilight," a pony said. The voice belonged to the pony known as Pinkie Pie, known for her wild nature and party hard ways. Twilight's concentration interception sent a pulse of magic that seemed to continue for Celestia knows when. It found its way to Pinkie and caused her to shrink. "Oh, is this a new party trick, Twilight? I'd love to learn how to do it," Pinkie's small voice said. She was no more than the size of a Philly's toy by now. "Oh my gosh, Pinkie, are you all right?" Twilight asked, alarmed. "Of course, why wouldn't I be, silly?" Pinkie answered. "Oh my gosh, this is so fantastic!" Twilight replied, ecstatically. Pinkie kept her wide grin on as Twilight ran some quick tests. Spike's voice came from the floor? And was it higher or smaller? "Twilight, what happened? I was just about to eat some shams Rarity gave me, and sweet Celestia, when did you get so tall?" Spike alarmingly said. "Spike, you shrink too?" Twilight asked. What?" "Spike, I didn't grow. You shrank," Twilight replied. "Number 47 backfired?" he asked. "It didn't. Apparently something happened to where you shrank like Pinkie," she said as she pointed to the small pink pony on her side. "Whoa, weird," he replied. "I'm gonna go lie down." "Okay, Spike," Twilight replied. Spike started for the stairs, but stopped on his journey and pointed to them, implying that Twilight needed to help him up. She rolled her eyes and walked him up the stairs with him in a magic envelope. She sat him down on his little bed. She walked back downstairs and focused her attention on solving the dilemma she created for Pinkie. "Pinkie, I'm thinking we should go through town and see if it happened to any pony else, Twilight said. Okie dokie Loki, Pinkie replied. As the two walked out of the library, they noticed a state of panic evident in every pony's eyes. What happened to us? Some said. Does anyone know the answer? More asked. Twilight's eyes were the size of pie plates, and her mouth was wide open. Every pony in town was shrunken down to a small size. Oh no, Pinkie said. I must have emitted a magical pulse of the spell when I got startled. Pinkie, I told you to knock every time you enter my house, in fear of something like this would happen. Oopsie, Pinkie replied. We'd better check on our friends, Twilight concluded. Oh, this'll be hard. If every pony was small, her chances of accidentally stepping on someone and crushing them were quite high. Nevertheless, she went on, teleporting to no panic zones along the way. She could have sworn ponies were giving her dirty looks when she looked down, as if they knew who the perpetrator of their shrinkage was. Despite this, she moved, and no ponies were harmed along the way. The trek was short, but felt long as the number of ponies that almost got squashed by Twilight grew. They got to Fluttershy's house and knocked on her door. Fluttershy, are you home? Have you been experiencing acts of shrinkage lately? Twilight asked, Pinkie Pie on back. Yes, be careful when you come inside, Fluttershy's even smaller voice answered. As Twilight stepped inside the college, she nearly stepped on a small Fluttershy. The now small Pegasus was shaking and making a blocking stance with her forehooves, feebly trying to stop the oncoming demise. Twilight looked down before she actually did. Whoa, that was a close one, Twilight remarked. So, do you know who did this? Fluttershy asked, shaking. I did on accident. Pinkie walked in and startled me while I was trying to cast a shrinking spell on an apple. The concentration intercept sent a pulse of the spell's magic across Ponyville, Twilight replied. I just wanted to borrow a book for good pranks for me and Rainbow Dash to try, Pinkie remarked. Why did you want to use a shrinking spell on an apple? Fluttershy asked. To make packaging easier. It may be smaller, but has the same amount of nutrients and flavor as normal-sized apples. It would really help apple farmers like Applejack, Twilight implied. Speaking of which, we better go see what happened to her. Good idea, Fluttershy remarked. Walking to Sweet Apple Acres was, again, a long trek. Some ponies were still having panic attacks and running around. Finally, the trio arrived at Applejack's farmhouse. The door creaked open as Twilight knocked. Applejack? Twilight called. Twilight, is that you? Applejack answered. Yeah, I accidentally cast a shrinkage spell that turned every pony small. Are you small right now? Twilight asked. Mm-hmm. 1 second I'm bucking apples, the next, the grass is my height. And you say you caused this? Applejack replied. Yeah, sorry. It's all right, Sugar Cube. Not the first time I've been small, anyway, Applejack implied. Not long ago, Applejack had been turned small by Poison Joke. Sakura, a friend, gave a cure to her and her friends. Can we go see Rarity? Pinkie asked. She's probably scared. Really scared, Fluttershy implied. We probably should, Twilight concluded. Screamed a small, white, purple-maned pony. Twilight couldn't even make it to Rarity's door before she cringed at her incredible shriek. Wow, you were right, Fluttershy. She is scared, Twilight remarked. She opened the door. Ah! Rarity screamed again. Rarity, what's wrong? And that's not a scream, Pinkie added. The three ponies that weren't screaming flashed disappointing looks at Pinkie. What? She said in response. What's wrong? What's wrong? I can't find my sequence. I can't find... Oh, there it is, Rarity said in relief. To this, Applejack's hoof suddenly met her face with a smack. Why is the sequence bag so big, Twilight? Oh, why is the sequence bag so big? And Twilight, when did you get so tall? Damn it! I gotta start all over again. I kind of cursed. I don't want to. Sorry about that. I'll have to read that line again. My mind worked a little too fast. Why is the sequence bag so big? And Twilight, when did you get so tall? Rarity wondered. I tried to test out a shrinkage spell and it accidentally sent out a pulse that shrank every pony, Twilight replied. Well now, I certainly see why the shop is so big now, my darling. You must have your hoofs full, Rarity said. Her back is full too, Pinkie replied, referring to her friends. Well, maybe Rainbow Dash hasn't felt the effects, considering she spends most of her time in the sky, Fluttershy implied. Maybe we should maybe we should go see her, Applejack concluded. Twilight and her four friends on her back started for Rainbow Dash's usual relaxation place. Take that! And that! A blue Pegasus yelled. Rainbow Dash was attempting to clear away a cloud that, to her, grew larger. Rainbow Dash! Twilight called. Rainbow slowed down to a glide. Hey, Twilight. Just clearing away this cloud. It got bigger for some reason. But you know what they say. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Say, have you gotten bigger? Rainbow asked. She didn't get bigger, Dashy. We got smaller, Pinkie replied. Weird. Were you trying out a new spell or something? Rainbow asked. Yes, a shrinkage spell. I want to use it on an apple, but I accidentally emitted a pulse of magic and every pony turned to the size of our friends here, Twilight implied as Pinkie smiled and waved. Whoa, we better go back to your place and see if there's something we can do, Dash replied. Twilight and every pony agreed and nodded as she trotted back to her library. As Twilight walked away, Dash flashed a look that said, I'm going to get you, and this isn't over, to the cloud she was trying to clear. Twilight looked through tens, maybe thousands of books and found no cure to her dismay. Will we be stuck like this forever? Rainbow Dash asked. I don't know how I'll make another dress if I remain this size, Rarity remarked. Oh, the animals will be in more danger if I'm like this, Fluttershy implied. I like it, Pinkie said. I'll never be able to buck another apple again, Applejack said, alarmed. Twilight looked outside. An angry mob appeared to start forming in front of the Golden Oak Library. Twilight hurriedly looked through more books, with the intensity of the situation increasing. It didn't help that every pony in town was equipped with the knowledge that Twilight cast the spell. Nevertheless, it was hopeless. Don't you know a reverse spell? Applejack asked. There it was, the magical golden question that could solve it all. Twilight's hoof collided with her face as she realized that she did know the reverse spell. She tried it out on her friends as the purple aura that was her magic enveloped them. They looked distorted as they reverted back to their original size. The process took about 3 seconds. As it was, the 5 ponies were back to their original size, and they cheered and celebrated. "Aw, bummer," Pinkie said. "Now, to clear up the town," Twilight implied. Twilight opened the door to the library, and nearly every pony thought about attacking her. Quickly, she cast the reverse spell. Every pony grew back to their normal size and cheered. They thanked Twilight, and they continued their day as normal and big as it should be. "Well, that takes care of that," Twilight remarked as she trotted upstairs to check on Spike. The still small dragon slept lazily. Twilight smiled and rolled her eyes and used a reverse spell. Spike was still fast asleep as he grew. Every pony giggled and enjoyed the rest of their day. Well, there's the fanfic, and sorry for the few mess-ups I did, but this is my first fanfic reading, so there are bound to be mistakes. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. So, until next time, brony on, my fellow bronies.